Hi everyone, welcome to Coffee Break with Your Soul. I wrote this little piece yesterday on telling our stories, and I received a couple of emails from people saying that it really resonated with them and they found it helpful. So I decided to make this short video as well on the subject. And so in that post, I was saying that every once in a while, when I either talk to a friend or someone I've been working one-on-one with, they'll be sharing with me something very vulnerably, very honestly, and then at some point they'll sort of pause and say something along the lines of, "Oh, I know it's just a story," as if that story didn't matter, as if it was to be ignored, but more importantly, as if it was something wrong to even bring up or mention, in particular in the context of non-dual teachings, because so much of non-dual teachings, they point to our stories being an illusion and a cause of suffering and something that we should not be indulging with. And there is so much truth to it. And so I'm absolutely not disagreeing with it, but sometimes our stories actually need to be told, want to be told. And there's really a huge difference between indulging in our stories, going back and forth about them, going back to them all the time, sort of dwelling on them or deriving all kinds of identities based on those stories, and simply acknowledging our human experience, acknowledging the things that happen to us or maybe continue to happen to us, whether those challenges are, internal or external. I mean, there are people really facing a lot of real hardships, whether it's poverty or illness, and those are not to be denied. So I really wanted to write about it, and I'm also, the reason why I'm also doing this video is to really say that it's, and I know that I sound like a broken record when I continuously say that our journeys are really unique and different, and the things that we've experienced, that we have been through, will be so different. And so there is no one size fits all. That really, it's not about either completely ignoring our stories and never telling our stories, or indulging in them and constantly dwelling on them and so on. I'm a huge fan of sort of common sense, and I always say that truth is, somewhere in the middle. It's not about whether one approach is right or one approach is wrong. It really is about taking into account the uniqueness of our journeys, the things that we've been through, and more importantly, meeting ourselves and whatever is happening fresh, and making the assessments as to what's needed accordingly, depending on where we're at. Because imagine that you and I, spend our lives, most of our lives, never speaking up, never being able to express ourselves, tell our story, or just express our feelings, our emotions, out of fear of some kind of repercussions, often whether those repercussions would be some kind of emotional abuse or physical abuse. Imagine that we spend most of our lives lying to people, hiding the truth about our situations at home, for example, to the point that we sort of no longer see the difference between the lie and the truth. Imagine that, we had to pretend all our lives that maybe we're okay when we were really sort of falling apart, and so when we finally get that glimpse into our true nature, or we fully wake up to it, right? Then it's actually for the first time that we're able to tell that story, to finally express, what could have never been expressed before, to finally tell the things that we couldn't have told before, to feel the things that we never allowed ourselves to feel. And that's just incredibly healing and incredibly beautiful, in of itself. Sometimes the story needs to be told because this is a way of getting into, sort of core belief or core wound. So we can finally meet it and feel whatever needs to be felt so it can be released. Sometimes the story needs to be told to even find the sensation, to see where the sensation is in the body, because, for example, we've been so detached from our bodies that it's not easy to even find the sensation to be with in the first place. Sometimes all that's needed is for the story to be told, just to be acknowledged, and that's it, and it's released. Sometimes there's no need to tell a story at all, but my point is that it really, really depends on all sorts of things, and this is why it's so important to meet every situation and every person sort of fresh. But knowing our true nature really has nothing to do with invalidating our human experience. It has nothing to do with denying facts of life or what we've been through. And actually, knowing who we truly are very often is only a beginning of being able to acknowledge the things that need to be met, that need to be shared, that need to be felt and healed. Because now we know that who we truly are is untouched by any of those experiences, and it's what actually allows us to meet everything fully, often for the first time.